Welcome to Brainstorming. I'm Anna Tizard, award-winning dreampunk and deeply weird fantasy author, and yes, that's me and my fiction that's deeply weird. Explore and imagine with me the most unexpected story ideas using the surrealist word game of Exquisite Corpse. Find out more and join in at annatizard.com. This is a storytelling challenge unlike anything you've tried before. Hello, imaginative people. I'm Anna Tizard, and this is episode 112 of Brainstorming. And I am shaking things up a bit because I'm ready for some changes. Maybe it's something to do with hitting that milestone of book 4 in my series, but every now and then, as creatives, it doesn't hurt to think creatively about our creativity. Freshen things up a bit. Are we getting bogged down or too rigid in the ways that we do things? Well, I did get some helpful feedback from some listeners and friends, and some listeners who are friends, and I've decided that for now, I am going to skip the meaty introductions and only share updates when I have something specific to share. Dive straight in to the word games and story brainstorms because that's what this show is all about. I may or may not roll the 12-sided dice during the story brainstorms to pick another random suggestion. I'll see how it goes. Why not be flexible? I'll probably use the pause button at some point. I'd like to draft a little scene of a story idea. I've kind of missed doing that, despite not feeling that I had time to do it for such a long time. I'd like to delve deeper into an idea, and I think it helps to sort of really imagine what's unfolding and take things that little bit further. After the games and story brainstorms, I will then share 3 or so, depends what you send me, of the best micro stories or poems from anyone who's responded to the previous prompts. And lastly, as I hand things over to you and pick out a good prompt from the show to try your hand at, I'll also mention either 1 or 2 submission call-outs from publishers, depending on what I've found. So, a shorter, snappier show begins here. And it's weird, I feel so excited about it, almost as if it's brand new. It only remains for us to plunge once more into the fluffy and slightly terrifying depths of the socks of destiny. That's right, Exquisite Corpse mixes your words and phrases into a sentence that goes describing word noun, action, describing word noun. Need I say any more than that? Probably not. Okay, so the socks are lovely and fat because I've had a lot of words coming in, so thank you to everyone who's participated in this. First word is from VJ Wild. Electric. Okay, so who or what was electric? Only the noun sock can tell us this. Whoops, some of them are leaping out of the sock. This is from Third and Long, Chief's poet stroke songwriter. Scar. The electric scar. Oh, wow. How's that going to work? Let's grab an action without trying to think too much about this. From Paul Monteith. Shelved. Okay. So already it's becoming challenging, but that's why I like it. Next word is from, I think it's Paul Monteith again. Enlightened. If you shelve something unenlightened, I think it's probably a book. And of course, we're not going to get a book, are we? So what is this? this is again from Third and Long, Chief's poet stroke songwriter. Invisibility cloak. Okay. I will be using the pause button, people. That much has not changed. Altogether, we have the electric scar shelved, the enlightened invisibility cloak. Okay, let me think first about the enlightened invisibility cloak. A cloak that makes you not just invisible, but enlightened. And this has been shelved, put aside, or maybe shelved in readiness for something, or to hide it behind a book and prevent other people from finding it. But who has shelved this incredibly valuable and magical item? The electric scar. Who could that be? If it is a person, someone who has a scar that conducts electricity or generates it, creates a spark. This is very challenging. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to roll the dice and see if the dice has anything at all to say about this. 12. A cocktail or a tea? But what if the electric scar is a bar? I mean, that's quite a cool name. The Electric Scar. Want to meet me there tonight? And they have some interesting items on display or for sale, like the way you get cafes who sell books or just have secondhand books on a shelf. But this bar, the Electric Scar, I imagine it has a flickering neon light and has some rather bizarre objects in a cabinet. Is that maybe in a more private section? This bar has booths where you can conduct shady conversations. So this Exquisite Corpse is all about a setting, because who knows who works there and who has made the decision to shelve the enlightened invisibility cloak. I wonder if there's a new member of staff, a new barman working there, and he's only just discovered this strange, unnatural object, an invisibility cloak that, when you wear it, it gives you wisdom, channels wisdom, like forbidden knowledge. And he finds he can understand people better, people who come in, even the secretive ones, cradling a whiskey in a shady corner, maybe especially the secretive ones. So he has this weird knowledge and starts to learn quite disturbing things about what's going on in this bar and wonders what happened to the person who left rather suddenly before him. So something's opening up because of this secret knowledge that he's getting from this invisibility cloak. And maybe that's why the electric scar, or a person working at the electric scar, shelved and hid the enlightened invisibility cloak. I wonder if this might be the one I try to use the pause button for. After trying it on, Sam shoved it back where she found it, behind a row of musty books in the glass-fronted cabinet next to the bar. But every time she passed the mirror in the staff toilets, her hands shook, and she peered closer, making sure she was all there. Had she really just found an invisibility cloak? The Electric Scar, according to her new boss, was more than a country pub. It was a museum of local memories, of the artists and alchemists who'd come and gone from this village over the ages, drawn by the fresh air and the winding, lopsided, cobbled streets. Old quills and paintbrushes preserved behind glass studded the walls, alongside strange portraits, some staring, one unfinished, because, as Mikey said with relish in his voice, the artist died while painting it, right across the street. While polishing glasses, for a heartbeat, Sam thought the slumped black bag at an old man's feet was a dog. Mikey noticed her flinch. "That's old Gerard," he said. "Still misses his black Labrador. We used to keep treats behind the bar for him." Later, when Sam caught her workmate Lacey staring at the person-shaped cloud that surely wasn't there, she opened her dry mouth. "Have you ever noticed stuff in here?" "Oh, that happens to everyone after they've tried on the cloak. They'd make it an official part of the induction process, but then it would be less fun, wouldn't it?" And that may be why the electric scar, or someone working in the electric scar, shelved the enlightened invisibility cloak. Although I wonder there must be another story behind why it has that bizarre name. Time for another Exquisite Corpse? Okay. Our first word is from Raymond B. Steinmetz. Welcome to the game, Raymond. Transparent. That's odd because we've just had invisible or invisibility. Next word is from Avery. Sponge. Oh no, a transparent sponge. Or a sponge that turns things transparent. Ooh, more invisibility. What is going on today with invisibility? Let's have an action. This is from Sean, also known as Blue Wizard Facts. Eloped with, to spite the king. Okay. Of course, this is part of a traditional fantasy or fairy tale. What else are you going to do with a transparent sponge? Next word is from Poor Thomas. Cinematic. Okay. Final word. Whoops. Something's just leapt out of the sock. I'll go for that one then. I'll put that one back. This is folded up tiny, and it's from Joseph Clark. Hagfish. Okay. Altogether, we have the transparent sponge eloped with, to spite the king, the cinematic hagfish. Okay, I'm going to have some green tea before I attack this one because this is ridiculous. Give that a stir. Whoops. That's it, don't pour it everywhere. Right. Okay. I mean, cinematic hagfish somehow doesn't sound quite so bad, quite so unattractive, because it's cinematic. Might have a certain beauty if you look at it from the right angle. But then I'm sure that would still make any king unhappy if you're presumably related to the king in some way and decided to elope with a hagfish, cinematic or not. But the transparent sponge, or someone in possession of a transparent sponge, a sponge that makes things invisible, that would be fantastic. Oh, a sponge. This is also a sea creature, potentially, as is a hagfish. So, is this some kind of underwater drama? Not quite contemporary fantasy anymore, but with sea creatures being the main characters. The Little Mermaid's second cousin, twice removed, is a sponge with invisibility powers. Again, that is strange that that's just come up a second time. Who decides to elope with a hagfish. But, okay, so this is ridiculous, but how could you turn this into a viable story idea? Even a contemporary or real-world based fantasy, like an urban fantasy. I think you'd have to decide that these characters are shapeshifters living in the human world, trying to fit in, trying to hide the gills that sometimes emerge and flicker and waver sort of at the neck, giving away their true watery natures. And coming up here onto land, breathing air, these borrowed identities, if that isn't eloping in a way that will anger the king of the watery underworld, what is? A sponge and a hagfish try to make it work in the human world. It's the basis for something, I'd say. It's the basis for something. Right. Let's try for another Exquisite Corpse. This is from VJ Wild, Fragile. Okay. Who or what is fragile? Next word is from Paul Benfield. Monument. A monument could be fragile if it's old. Next is from Sean, also known as Blue Wizard Facts. You've sent me a lot of words lately. Smothered. Ooh. Smothered. Next word is from Mark West. Also sent me a lot of words recently. Remorseful. Final word. Very curious. Exquisite Corpse, quite different from the others. From Alessandro Bozzo. Familiar, as in magical animal servant. Ooh. So altogether we have the fragile monument smothered, the remorseful familiar. So a monument is often a statue commemorating someone or a historical event, like a war. But for it to smother someone or something, it would probably have to crumble and fall down and probably be quite large as well. So someone's familiar, like an owl. I like owls. That's a good familiar to have. Very handy. It can fly. It can scooch ahead and check what's going on around you. This owl has had an accident, or it's been shot down by a rival witch. And for it to then be smothered by a fragile monument that's broken and fallen down tells me that maybe this is a war zone where there's a lot of shooting going on. It's very busy. Although it is fragile, so maybe not. Maybe this second evil witch has been quietly tracking the first witch, the one with the owl familiar. And this is the only way to bring her down without casting suspicion that this has been an attack. The monument was fragile anyway. But the second witch, the stalking one, doesn't necessarily want to kill the first witch. She just wants to weaken her greatly. And the best way to do that is to destroy her familiar, her magical companion. So this kind of feels like a scene you could start writing, not demanding answers to these questions beforehand of why, what's going on, because your subconscious mind will start to fill in those details as you write. Such is the magic of discovery writing. And now for my talented listeners' responses to a prompt from the last show. This time, these are all on the melancholic centaur. Nick Vrakar wrote, Jerry the centaur would trot by the trail that led to the forest and wonder what kind of life was out there beyond. He'd take off his buttoned-up shirt and his oversized horse pants and give up his life in the accounting firm if he could. He could not. He had bills to pay. It's just... the language is just so plain and it's just so droll. When I was reading this the first time round, I'm like, yes, there's a centaur in the forest. Then what? An accountant? You completely caught me off guard there, Nick. You can find Nick's fiction and articles at nvrakar.wordpress.com. Mark West wrote, The centaur didn't understand how two natures could belong to one soul. When he ran with the horses, they never questioned the trail ahead. When he sat beside philosophers, they never questioned their pursuit of knowledge. The horses trusted their legs and free spirits, whilst the scholars trusted their minds and thirst for knowledge. He couldn't understand why each seemed so certain. He spent years trying to silence one half of himself. If he studied enough, perhaps the beast would disappear. If he galloped hard enough, perhaps the man within him would. Neither happened. One evening he climbed a ridge where an old shepherd watched the valley below. You look tired, said the shepherd. I am divided, replied the centaur. Half of me longs for wisdom, half of me longs for freedom. The shepherd smiled. You've misunderstood yourself. A horse runs because it is alive. A wise man questions why. You were never meant to choose between them. The wind stirred the long grass. For the first time in many years, the centaur stopped doubting his own nature. Then he ran, not to escape his thoughts, nor to outrun his instincts, simply because he wanted the world to meet him exactly as he was. Afterwards, he realised his melancholy had never come from being divided. It had simply come from believing that he was. This is very thoughtful. It's kind of like a fable in miniature. And it's true, we are each more than one thing. Thank you, Mark, for your insightful tale. You can find Mark on X as 2112Westy. Finally, Elena Dennison wrote a poem entitled Chiron's Lament, but there's some Greek mythology in here, so I will read out the note that she gave me about the story this is based on first, because it makes more sense. It kind of lends so much more meaning when you actually read the poem. So Chiron was a wise and immortal centaur who lived on the mountains of Pelion. One day, whilst fighting side by side with his pupil Hercules, Chiron was accidentally wounded by an arrow soaked in Hydra's poisoned blood. However, immortal as he was, Chiron did not die, but suffered immense pain for 9 consecutive days. To escape this eternal suffering, Chiron struck a deal with Zeus and renounced his immortality to save Prometheus, the titan who was chained and tortured for giving fire to humanity. This is called Chiron's Lament. I was born where cold rocks weep, in Pelion's hollows dark and deep, beneath white clouds that blew away, like voices that forgot their say. 200 years were left to pass, till Hydra's blood pierced through the grass, 9 endless days of dire payback, Prometheus' ember dimmed to black. I carried sorrows steeped in wine, I paid my dues and served my time. On human knees I knelt in pain, a horse's heart pumping the way. 1,000 gallops leave no track, just weary bones and a bent back. Chasing the light on every hill, I find the world is fading still. The sirens know the grief I bear, they lick my ear and leave me there, sitting still as ages roam, without a path to lead me home. That is just so beautiful, and this steady, weighty rhythm, the bleakness and sorrow are there in every beat. Thank you, Elena. You can find Elena's magical poetry on her Linktree at linktr.ee/Lola the Cat. And she paints as well. And I'm kind of waiting for her to do a Blake and combine the two, imagery and poetry in one. Now over to you once more. There are so many amazing word combinations that have cropped up in today's games. I wonder if it's something to do with the sheer number of different people who've sent me words this time round. Because the more different people you have in an Exquisite Corpse game, it's just difference. You need difference to create these special random word combinations. So, for example, the electric scar on its own. What could you do with that? The enlightened invisibility cloak is another one. Or the remorseful familiar. Taken on their own, these word combinations have a life of their own. You know what to do. Hit the submit button at annatizard.com with a maximum of 250 words. But it could be a story, just a scene, a poem, or just a couple of lines to describe something that happens. Remember, to be included in the next show, I'll need your submission by the Friday after the release of this episode. If you send it in later, then I'll pick up on it for the show after that. While we're at it, Electric Spec is a quarterly speculative magazine seeking original sci-fi, fantasy and macabre stories with fresh ideas and strong storytelling. They're open all year round for submissions, but at the moment they're looking for stories for their November issue, for which the deadline is 15th of October. I like a doable deadline. Their word count is broad, all the way from 250 words right up to 7,000. So if your story starts to grow, this could be an opportunity to check out. Go to electricspec.com for more details. As usual, always run a check on reviews and comments on any publisher you choose to submit to, and read their terms and conditions of publication. Never assume anything. And don't forget to tell me the moment you have an Exquisite Corpse inspired story or poem published anywhere, so I can share this on the Brainstorming Emporium page and give you an extra shout out on the show. Until next time, go forth and be inspired. I hope you enjoyed today's Brainstorming. You can find out more about Exquisite Corpse and my series, The Book of Exquisite Corpse, at annatizard.com. Subscribe to my e-newsletter and you'll get Volume 1 for free. And while you're there, why not submit a few words to the Socks of Destiny on my play page? You may inspire me or inspire yourself to write a unique new story. See you next time.